Okay, so Diwali is almost here again. And well, for everyone in the Delhi NCR region, that usually means bracing for that difficult celebratory mix, doesn't it? Celebration, yes, but also that really intense spike in air pollution that seems almost inevitable now. My name is Priyanka Chakraborty, and my colleague today is Anil Agarwal.
It really does. It's become an unfortunate part of the calendar.
Exactly. So, today we're going to dig into a really significant decision that came down from the Supreme Court just recently. September 26th, 2025. It's all about the firecracker issue.
This decade-old debate and at first glance the Supreme Court decision looks like maybe a compromise. But when you actually start peeling back the layers, it's incredibly complex. A real tightrope walk legally and well socio-economically too.
That's a perfect description of tightrope, and that's really our mission for you today to get past the headlines and properly decode what the bench led by Chief Justice Gawai actually decided. We need to understand the very specific, very stringent conditions they put on manufacturers and also the history, the context that kind of forced the court into this really nuanced and balancing act position.
And maybe what it tells us about trying to enforce bans versus well allowing things under church rules.
Exactly. That enforcement versus prohibition question is key. And just so our listeners know, we're drawing all this directly from the recent legal reporting on this specific Supreme Court order.
Okay, let's unpack this then. So the ruling itself, it's very, very specific and it hinges on a distinction that I think is crucial. If you want to understand what the court was trying to achieve, the bench, that's Chief Justice Gawai, Justice Vinod Chandran, and a third sitting justice, decided against freezing the entire industry. They specifically said certified manufacturers in Delhi and NCR can keep producing green firecrackers.
Right. That's the production side allowed, but, and this is the massive but, for air quality in the region. The sale and also the storage of any kind of firecracker within Delhi NCR is still completely banned until further notice.
The sale and also the storage of any kind of firecracker within Delhi NCR is still completely banned until further notice.
Okay, so let me get this straight. If I'm a manufacturer based in NCR, I can keep the factory lights on.
If you're certified, yes.
Right. If certified, but I absolutely cannot sell my product here in Delhi NCR. My market has to be entirely outside this region. Is that correct?
That's precisely it. It's like, okay, industry can continue, but the local commerce, the local impact through sales, that's shut down for now.
An immediate ban on local sales, but production for elsewhere is okay? Interesting. And we really need to hammer this point home. The production allowance isn't for just any old crackers. It's not business as usual.
No traditional stuff.
Absolutely not. It's an extremely narrow window and it's only for green crackers. And even then, only if the manufacturer has valid certification from two key bodies.
Okay, who are they?
NEAR. That's the National Environmental Engineering Research Institute and PISO Petroleum and Explosive Safety Organization. NEAR and PISO. Okay, so what does green cracker actually mean in this context? We hear that term a lot, but what makes NEAR sign off on something as green? How different is it chemically?
That's a great question. It's mainly about what's inside and what comes out when it burns. Near-eye certification means the cracker uses specific chemical formulas designed to cut down particulate matter, the nasty PM 2.5 stuff, and harmful gases pretty significantly.
So less smoke, less fumes.
Essentially, yes. They swap out really toxic ingredient like barium salts. Those give you the bright colors but are terrible for the air and health. Alternatives to these, the green ones, are far less harmful. So, it's not just a tweak. It's a fundamentally different recipe. These are government certified and designed to be well less damaging to health and the environment.
Got it. And even if a manufacturer jumps through all those hoops, gets the near eye, etc., there's another condition, right?
A big one. They have to give a formal legal undertaking. Basically, a sworn promise to the court that absolutely none of their product will be sold or even stored in Delhi NCR.
Wow. Okay, so that's serious oversight. They're really trying to control the supply chain within the NCR.
They are. And we have to see this decision in its timeline. This September ruling, it's actually a step back from something much stricter.
Oh, right, the April decision.
Exactly. Just this past April 2025 to be precise, the court had put in place a year-round total ban. Manufacturer, sales, storage, everything blanket ban across Delhi NCR.
Yes. So this new ruling allowing conditional production, it signals the court is moving away from that kind of absolute prohibition, maybe finding it wasn't working or was too harsh, not forgetting the potential economic fallout.
Yeah, and this is where that judicial tightrope walk you mentioned becomes really clear.
The court explicitly said no to going back to a full manufacturing ban. Why? Why step back from the total ban they'd only imposed a few months before?
The judgment apparently talks about balancing economic interests with public health imperatives.
A real conundrum. That phrase really captures the core conflict, doesn't it? The court is basically caught between two fundamental constitutional duties, which are well on the side. You've got the right to life, the right to health, that includes the right to breathe clean air. Obviously, crucial for everyone, but especially the vulnerable, children, the elderly, that pushes for stricter pollution controls.
But then on the other hand, there's the right to livelihood. People need to work, and senior advocate K. Parameshwar, arguing for the manufacturers, made that point when he stressed they were willing to meet the strictest environmental standards. Those near and piezo requirements we talked about at the start of this episode. And I bet he brought up that earlier case, didn't he? The one that sort of paved the way for green crackers.
You guessed it, the 2018 Arjun Gopal versus Union of India case, absolutely foundational. That was the ruling that really created the legal space for green crackers in the first place.
How so?
It was the first time the court drew a clear line between the old, unrestricted, highly polluting firecrackers and these newer, regulated, potentially less polluting versions. So, by bringing up Arjun Gopal, the manufacturers were essentially saying, look, we'll play by the rules you laid down in 2018. Don't shut down the whole industry because of a few illegal operators using banned chemicals.
Okay, that clarifies their position. But then you had the counter-argument, the amicus curiae, who argued against. The friend of the court, who basically said, hold on, any relaxation is risky. Even a small increase in pollution hits vulnerable people hard.
Exactly. A classic judicial dilemma: clean air versus jobs, health versus economy.
So, how did the court actually justify not going back to a total ban on making firecrackers? What was the logic?
They seem to pivot on this idea of unintended consequences, the risk of making things worse. Paradoxically, how does banning something make it worse?
Well, the court argued that extreme restrictions and outright bans often just drive the activity underground into the black market.
Okay. So banning it doesn't make firecrackers disappear. It just means they become illegal, unregulated, possibly even more dangerous.
Precisely. And maybe using even worse chemicals because there's zero oversight. To make this point, the bench actually cited a specific real-world example.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
Illegal sand mining mafias in Bihar. Apparently, there is a complete ban on mining there, but it didn't stop it. It just created powerful criminal groups who did it anyway illegally. So the bench's thinking seems to be, if you impose these really sweeping bans, you might end up hurting the legitimate businesses, the people following rules without actually stopping the pollution, because enforcing a ban against a determined black market is incredibly difficult.
It shows the justices were thinking about the practical reality of enforcement, not just the ideal policy on paper. A total ban might sound good, but if it just pushes everything into the shadows using cheaper, nastier, more toxic stuff, then you would have compounded the problem, not solved the pollution problem. Plus, you've killed thousands of legitimate jobs in the process to achieve a worse outcome for everyone.
Exactly. And that whole conflict, that whole balancing act, I think it's perfectly captured in that quote from Chief Justice Gwai. He said, if the fireworks producers have the right to work, citizens have the right to breathe.
That sums it up.
It does. And this compromise ruling allowing certified production for outside markets but banning local sales. It feels like the courts attempt to thread that needle to try and respect both rights at the same time.
Okay, let's widen the lens a bit. Connect this specific ruling to the bigger, persistent air quality crisis in Delhi NCR. Because we know firecrackers, while a visible part, are only one piece of the puzzle, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's a complex soup. You've got the crop residue burning happening around the same time, massive vehicle emissions day in, day out, construction dust, industrial pollution, and then the weather often traps them all.
Yeah, the winter inversion layer.
Right. So, legally, the fight over this has been going on for a while. The National Green Tribunal, the NGT, they first imposed a seasonal ban way back in 2017.
Remember that?
And then, as we said, the Supreme Court tried that year-round ban in April 2025. This latest ruling, the September one, it almost feels like the court is saying, look, simple prohibition isn't working.
Or maybe acknowledging that courts and the legal system aren't there just to deal with strictly legal issues alone.
Exactly. It points to a deeper issue, maybe an administrative one, a policy failure. It's too complex for a ban, a bit like taking a military tank to a pheasant shoot.
Which seems to be precisely why the court then basically handed the problem back to the government. To the executive branch, didn't they? They've directed the central government, not just Delhi, to consult everyone, all the stakeholders, and who that includes is important.
Clearly so. It's crucial. They specifically mention the Delhi government, but also the certified manufacturers themselves, the sellers, the retailers, and the distributors who often kind of get left out of these high-level talks.
Okay, so a full consultation.
And the goal is for participants to come back to the court with a comprehensive and balanced policy solution by the next hearing, which is scheduled for early October.
So soon after September 26, the justices are keen to get this over the line ASAP. I wish they would do the same with the bank pension updation for retirees who's been fighting their case since 2008. But I digress.
Wow, that's a shift from firecrackers to bank pension updation. It's encouraging to see the Supreme Court is demanding dialogue and policy creation instead of just issuing another blanket ban.
The justices are pushing for a sustainable, workable plan.
But let's be realistic here. What kind of complexities does that policy actually need to tackle? It can't just be a piece of paper saying do this, do that.
Oh, it's hugely complex. Think about enforcement across state lines. If manufacturers in, say, Haryana or UP are allowed to make certified green crackers for sale outside NCR,
How does the Delhi government or the central authorities actually stop that product from illegally leaking into the NCR market, especially around the wall? That's the key challenge.
smuggling basically.
Essentially, yes. So the policy needs clear rules, maybe ways to track certified products, definitely coordinated enforcement between different state police forces, pollution control boards. It needs teeth.
Maybe support for manufacturers to switch to green tech too.
That could be part of a comprehensive policy. Absolutely. Subsidies, technical help. It also needs clear penalties for illegal storage, for selling banned products. Without all that, the sales ban in Delhi NCR is sheer words. It's purely theoretical.
This ruling, it really signals a shift, a move away from rigid, maybe unenforceable prohibition.
Right? Okay. So let's try and quickly summarize the crux of this for everyone listening. The Supreme Court looked at the total ban idea again from April and essentially said, no, that's not possible.
Right. Partly because of the economic impact, partly because, well, bans are hard to enforce. So instead, they created this really controlled system producing certified crackers. Okay for now. But selling or storing them in Delhi NCR, absolutely not. That's still banned.
Which leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? Something for you, our listeners, to maybe mull over.
What's the question, Anil?
Does this intricate ruling actually create a stronger incentive for better, more persistent enforcement against the illegal sales that will inevitably try to happen? Or does the very complexity of it allowing production here, banning sales there, actually make the policy harder to police? That's the $64 million question.
Yes, very much so. Thanks to our listeners. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please share, like, and subscribe.
Ab ke li alvida. Until next time.